Start the recording. Good deal. And let me go ahead and share the screen with y'all. Okay. Wonder what happens if I just share PowerPoint. Wonder if that's going to make it easier for you guys to see, because I'm not going to go outside of PowerPoint today. So, what do you think? Does that make the screen bigger for you guys? Maybe? Oh, doesn't matter. It still does this wacky thing. Come over here. Okay. I think it might make it a little bit bigger. I'm not really sure, but if it looks as though there's an issue, let me know. I'm looking at you now. Any problems? Looks the same. Yeah, okay. Well, I thought I would just try something different. Maybe it would release it a little better. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. I have this file here open, and it is nothing more than a template. One of the first things that I want to share with you guys today are comments. You are probably going to have at least one question about inserting a comment, deleting a comment, something like that. So I want to make sure that you know where to grab those from. So we're going to go to a tab that we haven't really used yet before, and this is our review tab. I didn't say welcome. I'm sorry, I jumped right in. Welcome, this is our PowerPoint 2 video. Okay, there we go. All right, so here we go. We're going to check out this review tab up here, which is one that we haven't learned. We didn't learn it last week. If you haven't hit this one up, this one here is going to allow you to see the comments and add comments if you wanted to. So I already had the pane up. So let me go back from scratch. So you go from your home tab to your review tab. And I had added just a couple of comments in here. And I can say show comments, or I can hit the down arrow and say comments pane or show markup. The easiest, you could just click show comments and it'll show it to you. On this one here, it says there are comments on other slides in this presentation, but it's telling you there's none on this one. And I can use these little buttons here to go to the next comment. So this comment here says, I have no idea what to do. And it tells you where it's guided. So it'll kind of pinpoint the area for you of where it belongs. If you are asked to, go to slide 5 and add a comment regarding the table, you could select the table, say new comment, and then it will address it to the table or the table area. And then you can say, this chart shares, on whatever. All right, so then you can add it right in there. Now, I'm going to go back to slide 2 because that's where I already had a comment. Let's say it doesn't tell you to select a slide and add a comment. Let's say it says for you to delete a comment. You see this little X that appears up here beside of your comment? You can click right there, or and that's probably going to be the best way for you. You could also select it and, oops, previous, here we go, cancel. All right, so you could select whatever your comment is. You could come up here to the top and you can say delete. You can hit the down arrow and say delete all comments on the slide, or delete all comments on this presentation. If you're a right clicker, unfortunately, right clicking is not going to be the easiest way for you to do this. So if you're just going to delete just this one, you can click the X that's over here. If you need to delete more, you can hit the down arrow and say delete for that one. Delete all comments on the slide, delete all comments in the presentation. All right, so any questions on how to add or delete a comment? I'll delete it just so you can see it, how easy it is for it to go. All right, so let me double check over here. Any questions about that? Looks like, okay, looks like we're good. All right, so the next thing that I want to share with you guys is changing the author. And we have done this before in our Word and properties. You can come to your file. You could come over here to your properties. And if you look down, and I have all of my properties already shared. You might have to sometimes, let me go to another file that I haven't messed with it. If you come over here and you choose file, you may only have a small amount of properties, and then you would have to, you know, maybe scroll down, and you guys aren't going to be able to see it, probably not on this one either. Anyways, you'd have to scroll down and say release all the properties. You guys have seen that on your test before. But this way here doesn't allow you to, it allows me to add an author, okay? But I'd have to come up here if I wanted to change the author right here and put my name in there, okay? Let's say that it asks you to change the author on your test, and you don't want to do it this way. There is another way to do it. When you go in and you choose File and Save or Save As, let me go into Save As. That's where I really need to go. When you go into File and Save As and you choose your location, I want to save it to this PC. All right, so when you come in here, it's going to give you this little option here for more options. And you may have to click it to get it to release. Once you come in there, uh-oh, I hear some beeping going on. Let me double check, you guys. Oh, great, it's frozen. All right, well, I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to share my whole screen then, since you guys are telling me it looks the same. Share the entire screen. Okay. Okay, let me start this back over because I want you guys to see the steps. All right, so you can go under your file. If you're tasked to change the author, oh, now my PowerPoint is going to stay frozen. File, there we go. So you can go under File, and under your properties, you can change the author there. If you're in the standard properties area, you cannot add, you can only add an author. So you'd have to come up here under your properties and go to your advanced properties in order to modify this author and change it. Okay, so if you're asked to modify the author, that's how you would do that. Now, I just closed out of it and I had saved this, so it's not sharing it there. But the other way that you could do it is when you choose File, Save As, there's a little thing here that says More Options, which you may or may not need to select, because you're going to want to get your box, okay? You're going to want to get your save box to come up here. And when you choose to save this, to the left of your save button is a Tools. And I want to bring this to your attention, especially for those of you guys who are testing today. This is a quick and easy way for you to do a couple of things. Okay, I'm going to go back to this because this is going to be a good spot for you to get a couple of your answers if you're testing today or whenever you test. File and Save As. File and Save As. Make sure you have your Save As dialog box up. As long as you have that up, here under Tools, I'm going to click this down arrow. I'm going to bring you to two places in here that you may have a question from. The first one is under the Save Options. Now let's do General Options first. General Options. Now let's go back to Save. Save Options. In your Save Options here, it's going to allow you to make some modifications like embed the fonts in the file. You are probably going to get a question like that. You're either probably going to get embed the fonts into a file or compress your pictures. Okay, and I'll show you another way to compress your pictures besides doing it through here. But here's this one, embed the fonts in a file. Click it and then say OK. Now, if you were looking for your author, you could also do that here. Do you see this is almost the same thing as going into File and Options? You've got your General, your Proofing, and your Save. So it's really just the same way to get there. Here is my username and my initials. Now, the username is different from the author. So I want to make sure to bring that to your attention. If you are, why would you have a separate username? Okay, so when you send your file out and you're working with someone else and they add comments and they send it back to you, your username is what's released so they can see who gives what comments. All right. If you wanted to change your username for whatever reason, let's say you're a secretary for someone and you're actually doing their work, and so then maybe I'm Roseanne Thomas's, which I'm far from her secretary, but okay. So I could change my username here, and I could change the initials so that it would identify for the comments that it was Roseanne's comment and not my comment. Does that make sense? So if you were asked to, let's come back and look over this again. I'm going to hit cancel out of all this because I need to hit it up so you guys understand it. If you're asked to change the author, you can do File and Properties, Advanced Properties, and you can update the author right here. I just changed my name and say OK. Now, if they're talking about a username, all right, that's why when students send me files and teachers come to me and say, well, it says the author is such and such, and I'm like, if they know how to change properties, they can change the author to anything. The author is defaulted to whoever the software is licensed to. But if they know how to change that or strip the properties out, you know. All right, now, if they're going to tell you to change the username, then you can go into File and Save As. Get your dialog box for your saving. Go under Tools. Go under your Save Options. And then you can change it here. In the general username, you can change it there. Okay? It may also ask you to embed your true font types. The easiest way for you to do this, you can do it under File and Options if you want. But I'm going to encourage you guys, File and Options has way more than what you need, and some of you guys just sit there and stare at it, so this is another option for you. You can do File, Save As. I don't think you're going to have to click more options, but in case you do, Tools, Save Options, and under here with the Save, you can come down here and say Embed Fonts in the file. Now, why would you do that? You know, why would you want to save those in there? Well, if you've ever created a PowerPoint before, like let's say in 365 or 2016, it's got some new and updated fonts that you really like, and then you take it to a computer that has a downgraded version where they don't have those same fonts, and you pull your PowerPoint up, it will default it to a most basic font that's available within that software, and it can completely change the overall look of your presentation. So if you're going to a public school, you're going to a public location, somewhere where you're not 100% certain about what their, software might be, this is something that you could think about doing, embedding your fonts. Or if you buy fonts, if you purchase fonts for your computer, which you can do, those cutesy little fonts, if you buy those, you save your PowerPoint, it looks really cool, and you go somewhere else, and they don't have those there, which they won't because you bought them, you would need to embed those as well. All right? So, oh no, I don't really want to save that. Okay, let me come back to this little tools button again. What if it tells you to create a password? What if it asks you to create a password for your presentation to protect it? That would be, I'm just going to go back through all these steps again. File and Save As. And there are other ways to do this. If you do it a different way, that's cool too. There are more ways to do this, more than just one. I'll go back to this Tools, and I'm going to say General Options. Here it's going to give me a password to open, or if it tells me to modify the password, I can put the modification in here. All right. It may also give me a step to create a password and remove my personal information from this. Why would you do that? If you're going to post this on the internet, you may not want your personal information posted up there. All right? So if it gives you a password, you're going to put the password in there. I'm not typing a password in because once you select a password to put in there, if you forget what it is, you can never open it again. You're done. All right? So you may want to save it on a standard with one file name on your computer, and then if you're sending it out to other people, put the password on the second copy of it. This way you can always have your original, because once you place a password on there, you can't open it. There's no trick to that. Not that I'm aware of. All right, so any questions about saving it, changing the author, changing the user, or adding a password? Any of those things, are we cool with all of those? Let's check you guys out. Let's see. All right, I think we're okay with that. Okay, so let's move back into, let's go to the next thing that I wanted to address with you guys, which I have in this PowerPoint here. This one, in this particular PowerPoint here, and you may have already seen this question in Word before, but it is converting your text to Smartart. Okay, so on slide 6 here, I've got some text, and let's say that it's going to ask me to convert this to Smartart. The easiest thing for me to do is select my text so that I don't have to resize it, or I don't have to retype it, and on the Home tab, I can choose this button right here, Convert it to Smartart. Since it's already selected, it will tell me so that it can convert it over to Smartart. I don't have to do an insert and then choose Smartart. Okay, I don't have to do that. If I do that, it's not going to pick up all the text that I have. And if it tells you to convert the text to Smartart, you want to follow the step properly. Okay? If it says insert a Smartart, well, you go to insert and your Smartart. But if it says to convert, on your Home tab, there is this button here, convert it to Smartart. Then you would follow the steps that they tell you so that you could modify that Smartart. All right. What if you needed to convert it again? All right. You've got another convert button up here. One of the questions I've had in the past is convert this to Smartart. And then the next question was convert the Smartart to text. So here's your option right here to convert it to text. Okay. I wanted to hit that one up with you guys. What if it asks you to select your table or to go to slide 6 and on your table decrease the width? Okay, once I select my table, I get my design and my layout tabs at the top. On my layout tab, I've got the width right here. If I am told to decrease it to 5.3, then that's all I have to do. Okay. Convert things to Smartart. Decrease your list. All right. I'm going to select slide 7 because I've got a little bullet here. Doesn't say anything, all right? It just has my bulleted list here. If you are asked to decrease your bulleted list, you know, a shift tab will usually do that for you. In this case, it will not. All right? A tab will usually bring it in, and a shift tab will bring it out. Now, depending on what level your bullet is at. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit tab, and it brings these in to the increased bullets. And then if I do shift and tab, it brings them out. Now, if you don't want to use the tab and the shift tab, you can use the buttons that are on your Home tab. You have up here increase level list and a decrease level list. Well, decrease is not an option because we're already at the size that. Now if I will come here and increase it 1, then I can decrease it. But if you're not comfortable using tab or you're scared you're going to mess those up, use these here. I feel confident when you test in PowerPoint, more than half of you guys will see this button here. This increase and decrease a bulleted list, and this is the easiest way for you to use it, are these two buttons here. All right. Embed your true font types. I already hit that one up. File, save as. Go under your tools, your save options, embed your fonts. Okay. Adjust the table width. I've got that one. All right. Now is the fun part. We're going to check out audio, video, and action buttons. Okay. Here we go. Let me come back over here. In this particular PowerPoint presentation, I'm going to start off with the hyperlinking or the action buttons. Now, you'll have to read your question carefully. Hyperlinking and action buttons are the same concept, but it's done with a different step. Okay? So, this is one of the things I said I was going to share with you guys this week. If I come through here and I sent you a little tip on it, I think yesterday. I think I sent quite a few tips yesterday. Here I've got this presentation and I click and I get here, is FTCC the best community college, yes or no? All right, you see my mouse, when I move it over yes, it looks as though I have a link. And if I mouse over no, it does not have a link. So, what I have done here, I'm going to escape out of that. What I have done is I put the question in there, but you've got to kind of forward think if you're creating this on your own. All right. So I'm going a little bit more in depth with this because your test would probably just say, you know, select the no and create an action button to go to slide 4. Okay. But when you create a question on your PowerPoint like this to make it interactive with your audience, what you've got here is you have to have, if you've got a yes, no answer, which is the best way to do it? You look at the audience, you know, is this the best community college, yes or no? Well, then you have to forward think. So you need a slide that will address yes. Great, you answered yes. Then you also need a slide to address no. Incorrect, you answered no. Then you've got to link those over. So this yes here, I've already linked to slide 3. Okay? Now I've got to select the circle, the shape that's been created, and make this one link to slide 4. I can do it in a hyperlink, but only if that's the test question. If the test question says for you to insert an action to take the no shape to slide 4, you would want to do it this way. Insert action. It's under your links, your hyperlinks, okay? Insert action. You're going to tell it that you would like to hyperlink to a slide ... It's going to ask you which slide you would like. And I'm going to say we're going to the incorrect slide. I could even have it play a sound if I wanted to, but I'm not going to worry about that. And I will say okay. Now let me play this presentation. Is FTCC the best community college? Now, when I mouse over it, my no, my whole shape, I can click and it'll say incorrect. You answered no. But then, if I were going to continue on and actually create this for myself, I would need to action link these. Continue on to the presentation. So I would do action that, hyperlink to a slide, and I would want them to continue on. So I'd hyperlink it to slide 5 and okay. And if I would like for them to answer again, which makes no sense because they've already got it correct, but if I would, then I would make this have an action, hyperlink it to slide. Now, the great thing about this is when you link it to a slide and you add a slide in between 2 and 3, it always remembers which slide you have it selected to. Insert, action, hyperlink to, because if you just say next slide and then you add another slide in there, it's going to take it to the next slide, whatever the next slide is. So I always go the extra step and say, you know, to make it action to, a particular slide. All right. This one here, we'll even add a little audio on this one. Hyperlink to, we would like for them to do this one again. Link it to the slide, and they're going to go back to the question. And we'll have it play a sound. Play a sound of bomb. Okay. All right. Maybe this one should play a sound. Action. Slide. I have it going to slide 4, incorrect. But I want it to play a sound. Maybe this one needs a bomb. Maybe that one needs a hammer. Who knows? Okay. All right, so let's play this now. All we just did was an action button. It's the same concept as a hyperlink, but if it tells you to hyperlink it, you'll hyperlink it. If it tells you to create an action button, that's what you'll do. Is FTCC the best community college? No. Oh. Do I want to try to answer the question again, or do I just want to continue? Let's answer it again. Is FTCC the best community college? Yes. Oh, great. You answered yes. Let's continue with the presentation. All right. Do you see that? That was nothing more than having action buttons on there. It can really improve for you personally how you use PowerPoint. It gives you a great way to connect with your audience. And also, you will have a hyperlink question, whether it is a hyperlink or an action. So are you cool with the action? It really is the same thing as a hyperlink. Select whatever it is they tell you to link. It could be text. You can action link text. Select it, make it have an action. Hyperlink it to. They'll tell you which slide to select, or if you're going to have it go to a slide. And then you just simply say okay. I prefer not to have, if I'm going to have a scenario like this, I prefer to insert a shape. Because then I don't have to worry about getting on the text exactly. But see, now that's a hyperlink, okay? But what if it asked me to hyperlink this out, okay? If I were asked to hyperlink, instead I would go to the links that I want to insert a hyperlink, and here it gives me my different slides that I could choose. So what's the difference? You're like, what's the difference? It's showing me here a place in this document, the different slides. The biggest difference is the terminology. All right. And to be quite honest with you, an action button is better to use if you're linking within your document. A hyperlink is usually better to use in PowerPoint if you're going to a web page. Okay. And I would hyperlink this out. Okay. All right, so any questions about hyperlinks, or let me check you guys out. Any questions about hyperlinks or action buttons? We're good. Okay, and let's keep on trucking. All right, last week Cheryl even said, I want to make sure you hit up video and audio. Are you going to do that? Absolutely. So we're going to do that here and now. After slide 7, I'm going to insert a slide. You will most definitely get a question to insert a slide with a particular layout. If I'm on my home tab and I just simply select new slide, it's going to give me the basic slide layout. If it tells me to insert a slide with a specific layout, I need to make sure that I select that layout. If you don't, like for example, if I wanted title and content here, and when I select it, I get title and to content, and then I'm like, well, I'll change the layout. That's not what the question's asking. So you'll want to undo it, select a new slide, and then place the proper slide in. All right, in this instance, I'm going to insert a video. Okay, now I can come up to my Insert tab. I can come up to my Insert tab, and I can choose video on any slide. It doesn't matter what slide I'm in. I can go to any slide and choose video, and video on my PC, and I can add a video in there on any slide. Although, I would like to share with you guys and remind you that if you, here's my video right here, that if you are an instructor and you're making things ADA compliant, this would not be ADA compliant. It is not in a placeholder. It will give you an error. So I'd like to share with you the proper way to do it, which would be to have a placeholder. In this placeholder, ask me here, do I want to click to add text? Or it gives me these options. Do I want to insert a table, pictures, online pictures, video? If I insert it into a placeholder, then it holds its place and then it's ADA compliant. So I'm going to select it from here. Then it's going to ask me, do I want it from a file, from YouTube, or from embedded code? Now, I will warn you that if you're going to use the YouTube, you have to make sure that you're going somewhere that's going to have internet when you play your presentation, for you personally. So if you put a video in and you're all excited about it, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to do this presentation, and you get to that location and they don't have internet, your video is not going to come up. Because what it's actually doing is just embedding a thumbnail and linking you out. All right? So also you've got to be careful if you're using YouTube in a public setting because you don't always know what's going to come up on the right-hand side. When I did that, I got big boobed girls on roller coasters, and it was really embarrassing. That's a true story. And so I have since then learned how to strip down my YouTube videos and pull them back in so I have what I need. So you want to be really careful if you use this one. This here, I'm going to choose from a file and browse. You will either be requested to insert audio or video. You will have to do one or the other. And then you're going to have to make a modification to it. Notice when I insert this video, I get my video tools at the top, my format and playback. You can do anything with this video that you can do with an image. Do I want to make corrections to it? Do I want to make it lighter or darker? Do I want to change the color so that the color scheme is different? Poster frame is not what you'll see in this testing because that's more advanced. This here is resetting your design, which is where you can reset it back to your original. All of these picture formats that you could place onto a picture, guess what? You could put any of these onto a video. You can go in and change the video shape if you wanted to. If I wanted it to be an explosion, it could be an explosion. My video is still there. So there are a ton of options. Every option that you've already used, I could change my border color, change my border width. Any option that you have used in the past with an image, you can do to your PowerPoint, in PowerPoint to your video. I can even set a glow. I could put it to have 3D rotation. I can do everything that I could do to an image before. Now this is something that's newer. If you don't have all the updates, you may not see this button. This here gives you the option to put your alt text in there. It's already in a placeholder, so you don't need the title, but you can add your alt text very easily. That's only in the updated versions if you use the 365. All right, I've got the rotate here. I can rotate it right, left, up, down, flip, horizontal, or vertical. You will probably see that. I'm going to come back here and reset this, and I will flip it around so that we can actually see it. All right. One other thing I'm going to mention to you guys while we're in here is, let's say that I was also told to insert a shape, or maybe the shape is already here. All right, and it says new video. But let's say that they want this placed behind my video, not on top of it. Okay? On every format tab, you're going to have the option to bring forward or send backwards. Bring forward or send backwards. Okay? You can layer things in PowerPoint. After they're layered, then you could add an animation of an entrance so that they layer themselves at the appropriate timing and look nice. But, you know, you can send this forward or backwards, okay? Now, I'm going to select my video again, and I want to get into the Playback tab. The Playback tab here is going to give me some options. I could go ahead and play this now. Okay. Maybe I'm told, here's bookmarking. If I'm told to add a bookmark at 3 seconds in, or 2.99 seconds, I can add the bookmark right there or remove the bookmark. Why would I do that? What happens is when you choose to place bookmarks in different locations, instead of have you ever wanted to make a verbal note to the audience when the video gets to a particular place? So you find that you're sitting there watching it with the audience, when the reality is you really do want to be watching the audience watch it so you can see their reaction. If you add these bookmarks, you will see when the little bookmark is coming, and then as you're completing your presentation and the video is playing, when it gets to that bookmark, you can identify it gets to that location, and then you can make the comment that you wanted to make. That's the point of a bookmark. Or if you're sending this out to an audience, you could say at the first bookmark, notice that such and such happens in the video, and that's really important. At the second bookmark, notice that this happens, and that's really important, okay? And you can remove these bookmarks too. Just simply click on it and remove. If you're told to trim your video, all you have to do is select Trim Video. Your green bar is on the left. You can drag that in however far it tells you. It might say make the start time at 20 seconds or whatever. They're going to make it easy enough so you can get it where you need to be. Or trim the ending of it so that your video is only a certain length, okay? The great part about that is I can still see my bookmarks in there. I can see my start time and my end time. I could play it to double check it. So if you're doing your own video and you know, you cursed at the beginning and you didn't mean to or whatever, you got some jumbled up stuff in there, you can trim off the beginning and ending. Or let's say you overdid your video. If you're like me, you talk a lot, and the next thing you know, you got a 40-minute video. No one wants to watch that. So you can trim off and get out the most important pieces of it. Okay? Oh, because I'm trimming this, it's going to take it a second. There we go. All right, now, it may ask you to do a fade in. A fade in will just actually fade in, so it goes from black to gray to your video, or maybe a fade out. You can adjust the volume here, high, medium, low, or mute. Maybe you don't want any audio at all in your video. You can select it. So here it's going to click in sequence with. I would never use that. You're never asked to use that. I've never been in a situation where you want it to click in sequence. You either normally will say, I want it to play automatically, or I want it to play when I click on it. I'm going to say play automatically, and let's come back up here to the beginning. Well, now let's just play. We'll start from the slide before. Here we go. Let me go on to our next one. And it plays automatically. If you are giving this presentation, I would say play it, you know, if this were you personally, I would say play it when it's clicked on, because then it will start when you're ready for it to start. If you're asked to make it play full screen, it will play for your through the whole PowerPoint screen and not just in the small square you have it. You can have it hide while not playing, because if you have things layered, you might have something on top of it, it will hide it. You can make it play loop until stopped. If you have to go out to the high schools and play these things and have a video that's up and you want it to continuously go, you can put on a one-slide PowerPoint presentation with a video in it and tell it to keep on looping. Rewind after playing, or insert captions. You will not get a question on that. That is a new option with the 2016 365. All right, so any questions about videos? Anyone have a question about a video? It's just adding a video in is the same as, you know, it really is the same as, no different than adding an image in. All right? And you get the same buttons up there. You're going to get your tool tabs up there where you can go make modifications to it. Let's add some audio in here. I'm going to select slide 1, and I'm going to insert audio. Audio does not need its own placeholder. I'll choose audio on my PC. I'll choose this little song here and insert it. When I insert audio and I play my presentation, it will usually often not be what you think if you play. All right, so what happens in the default of inserting audio, the default is so that it does not play until you have clicked it. That's the default. And also, it's going to show that audio, and you want to hear audio and not see audio. All right? And if you don't know when it's going to come up, and sometimes you click and you're like, and then you've accidentally clicked past it and you've moved on to your next slide and there was no use in you adding the audio to start off with. So let's double check this. Here's my audio. I select it. I get my format and playback tabs at the top. I'm going to go to my format one. The format one is generally absolutely nothing you're going to have to worry about because guess what? This is all the same stuff that goes along. We don't need to worry about this with audio. Do I want a picture border? I don't care. I'm not going to see this thing, you know? I mean, there, I got a picture border. I mean, you know, so I'm going to tell you that you will not be asked to put on your audio any sort of formatting, okay? Now, on your playback is where you're going to get your questions. All right. This play button over here is simply going to play what you have. You can add bookmarks to it, but you're not going to see it like that. You're going to see the bookmarks only really while you're editing. All right. Here's the kind of questions you're going to get. Insert the audio and trim the audio. Make the start time at 8.952 seconds. Okay, so we trimmed it. All right, make the audio fade in for 0.50 and fade out for 0.50. Okay, maybe adjust the audio to medium. It may also say, make the audio start automatically. That's what I would recommend. I would always have my audio to start automatically unless if it's music. If it's something that's educational, an audio clip, then I might say when I click it, okay? Now, here it's going to start automatically. I'm going to tell it to hide during the show. Okay? And now let's play this. It should start automatically and hide. So it started, it faded in, and it started at the trim point, okay? And it's only going to play on just that slide because that's all I told it to do. Now, when I click to go to the next slide, it will stop because I didn't tell it to continue on. But let's say that you've got a PowerPoint like this one, which is one of the assignments that's in your class if you chose to do this one. This here is played, stuff like this is played at sporting events, at, you know, high schools, elementary schools, grade schools, at weddings, at funerals. You guys can create these so easily by saying insert, photo album, selecting the photos that you want. You can select the whole thing of photos or just select photos. I'm not really sure what photos I'm selecting here. Some old Boy Scout photos. Okay, so you could select all of those, and then you insert. You can make them all black and white or whatever, and then create. And it's going to put all of those photos into the PowerPoint at once. Here we are. So I didn't really have to do anything except, like, you know, 2 clicks. Now, if you have a Mac doesn't have that button. Okay, once you get those in there, you're usually going to insert some audio onto your first slide. Then you're going to have to make some adjustments to your audio and tell it to start automatically. Tell it to play on all of the slides, or tell it to play in the background. Now, if I play this presentation here, which took me about 3 seconds, now I'm having to click my way through this, all right? And I don't want to click my way through it. I want it to play automatically. That will be different. We have not hit up transitions yet, but I'm going to share that with you now. Transitions, if it asks you to place a transition on there, you select the transition that they tell you. If you only select it for this one, you get your little star over there. If not, you can say apply to all, and the star goes on all of them, so you know all of them have a transition. But this is what we want to look at here. Over here, do we want it to advance on the mouse click? I would leave that, because if you wanted to interrupt the show, that's the only way to really interrupt it. I'm going to say I want it to advance after, let's just say 1 second. We'll make it go really fast. Advance after 1 second and apply that to all. Now within, 60 seconds, I just created myself a PowerPoint presentation with music, and I'm not clicking. It's doing it automatically. All right. So if nothing else, I mean, maybe you guys could also use this skill here to create yourself a little PowerPoint presentation. But that's that. You will probably get a question on advancing the slides. You'll either get it with transitions or telling it to advance the slides, remove the mouse click, and after so many seconds, and apply it to all. All right. So that is everything. I was trying to do it by 2:45. I was really, really close. But that is everything I wanted to cover today, because most everything we touched base on today, you're going to see it. All right. So let me stop sharing this screen, come back over, and does anyone have a question? Question from anyone? Yeah. PowerPoint's a lot more fun. It's going to have questions on it that you've not used or seen before. The action buttons, the hyperlinks, the changing the author, maybe some transitions on there, maybe changing the user. That last week we really hit up inserting slides from other. Do you remember how to do that, right? On your home tab, when you go to insert, you say that you're going to reuse a slide. Don't forget about that. And then if not, you can pull your outline from another like a Word document or whatever. We did those last week. It does have a lot more stuff. It has everything that you saw in Word and then more, right? So it does. But the really great part about it is it's almost intuitive now. Now that you guys have taken 2 tests and you go in here and you take this one, you're going to whiz through it. And if you don't whiz through it and you have some questions, it'll be intuitive. Like you're going to feel like, oh, I need to go here, and that's where I'm going to click. So, all right, quite a few people have said that they might come in for testing today. So I'm going to try. I want to make sure I have enough computers. I'm ready for everyone. My goal is to be there by 4 o'clock and start getting the computers ready. So if any of you guys are testing today and you want to come in early, I will be there early in case that works better for you. If not, I'm going to keep the standard time. So testing would go through 7 o'clock tonight, but you have to make sure you're there by 6. Okay, if you want to test today, you have to be there by 6. So, oh, I know, Brooke is ready. She is ready. She's going to finish up this class in the next 2 days and have all of her stuff done. All right, so that's it, guys. If you got any questions or whatever, email me. Check out some of those tips that I sent you. And if you don't have any questions, I'm going to turn us off. Good deal. Thanks, Danny. All right, thank you. Okie dokie, guys. Bye.